My neighbor's ex-wife ran into me at the laundromat, then whispered, "Grant is waiting in my lobby." Part 1. The industrial dryer in the far corner of the laundromat squeaked on every third rotation. Not every second, not every fourth, every third. The sound cut through the humid midnight air, sharp and metallic, mixing with the smell of lavender fabric softener, damp cotton, and old copper pipes. I stood in front of machine number 7 with my arms folded, watching gray sheets tumble behind the thick circular glass, letting the mindless rhythm pull the last pieces of a 14-hour shift out of my head. Some men go home after a crisis call. I do laundry. A washing machine does not negotiate. A dryer does not threaten to jump, lie, scream, or ask whether the world still has room for one more broken person. It spins, stops, buzzes, and waits for quarters. After a day spent talking a desperate man down from a third-story ledge outside an industrial warehouse, I needed something that simple. Then, the glass door at the front of the laundromat rattled hard against its aluminum frame. I did not turn quickly. Quick movement escalates people who are already afraid. My eyes shifted first. A woman stepped inside from the rain, one hand clamped around her phone, the other around a set of keys. Rain darkened the shoulders of her jacket. Her hair had slipped loose from a clip and fallen over one side of her face. She did not look at the washers, the vending machine, or the empty row of plastic chairs. She looked straight at me. "Elena?" Elena Parker crossed the room in 3 fast steps, then stopped an arm's length away. Her fingers tightened around the keys until they clicked once against her palm. She placed her phone flat on top of the dryer beside me. "Grant is waiting in my lobby," she whispered. "He blocked my car downstairs." That sentence cleared the fatigue from my system. I knew Grant Harris. 6 months ago, he had lived in Unit 4B across the hallway from me. Loud voice, polished shoes, too much cologne in the elevator, the kind of man who smiled at neighbors while slamming doors at home. His divorce from Elena had finalized in the spring, and she had kept the lease in 4A. I also knew the look on Elena's face. Not romance. Not drama. A threat response? "What does he want?" I asked. "The remaining equity from the marital house?" She swallowed once, then tapped the phone screen. "He says if I don't sign a transfer tonight, he'll send fabricated files to my board at 8 tomorrow morning, manipulated audio, private emails taken out of context, screenshots that make it look like I violated our custody schedule and leaked company data." There were the stakes. Career, custody, money, reputation. The full cage. Why not call your attorney? "She's in court in another county until morning. Grant knows that." Elena's voice stayed low, but every word came out clipped and controlled. "He said if police arrive before I sign, he sends the files to my board and the custody evaluator immediately. My car is blocked in the garage. The side stairwell was the only way out. I walked until I saw you through the laundromat window." I looked past her to the rain-streaked glass door. No one outside. No car idling at the curb. No shadow moving between the parked vehicles. "You came because I know Grant, because I live in the building, and because I can be a witness before this becomes another private room argument," I said. She nodded once. "And because you're a crisis negotiator." "I'm off shift." "I know, but I'm still a witness." Her keys stopped clicking. I pulled my phone from my pocket and set it on top of the dryer beside hers. "We do this clean. I don't threaten him. I don't touch him. You don't sign anything. We document the lobby, the blocked car, and the messages. Then we get you behind a locked door and call this in properly." Her eyes stayed on mine. "He's angry." Then we give his anger a room full of cameras. I left my laundry in machine number 7. The walk back to our apartment building took 4 minutes. I stayed half a step behind Elena's right shoulder, close enough to see both sides of the sidewalk, far enough not to crowd her. The rain had thinned into mist, and the pavement reflected the streetlights in broken yellow lines. Elena kept her phone in her hand the entire way. Twice, the screen lit up with Grant's name. Twice, she looked at me instead of answering. "Let it ring," I said. She did. At the apartment entrance, I stopped before the double glass doors. The lobby was bright. Grant stood near the brass mailboxes, pacing in short, aggressive lines. His dark coat was open. A leather folder sat under one arm. Every few seconds, he checked his phone, then looked toward the elevators, then toward the garage corridor. A man waiting to corner someone. Not a man waiting to talk. "Elena," I said quietly. She turned. "I go in first. You stay 3 steps behind me. If I tell you to go to the elevator, you go. If he speaks to you directly, you do not answer until you choose to. This conversation happens at my volume, not his." She nodded. "Say it." "I stay 3 steps behind. I don't answer unless I choose. If you tell me to go to the elevator, I go." "Good." I opened the door. Grant's head snapped up. His expression changed when he saw me. Irritation first, then surprise. Then the ugly calculation of a man forced to perform in front of the wrong audience. "Elena," he said, trying to step around me. "Where have you been?" I stopped in the center of the lobby, directly between him and Elena. "Grant." His jaw tightened. "Caleb, this is private." "Not anymore." He gave a short laugh with no humor in it. "You have no idea what this is. I know you blocked her car in the shared garage. I know you threatened to send digital files to her employer and custody evaluator unless she signed over property equity. I know this lobby has cameras." Grant's eyes flicked to the black dome above the mailboxes. "Good. Let him remember the room." "This is between me and my ex-wife," he said. "Then you should have called her attorney during business hours." Elena stood behind my right shoulder, silent but upright. Grant saw that too. His face flushed. "You think a neighbor changes anything?" He tapped the folder against his palm. "She knows what I have. She knows what happens tomorrow morning." I kept my hands open at my sides. "You are standing in a recorded lobby, making a financial demand tied to a threat of digital release. That is not leverage. That is evidence." His mouth tightened. "Move," he said. "No." The word landed flat between us. Grant stared at me, waiting for anger. Men like him know what to do with anger. They can twist it, feed it, call it proof. I gave him nothing. "Here is the practical path." I said, "You leave the building. You unblock her car. You communicate only through counsel. Tonight stays a documented safety concern. Tomorrow morning, if you send anything, you create a clean record for extortion, cyber harassment, and custody interference." His eyes narrowed. "You always talk like a manual?" "Only when people ignore obvious warnings." Elena made one small sound behind me. Not a laugh. Almost. Grant heard it. His attention snapped toward her. "You think this is funny?" I shifted 1/2 step, blocking his line of sight again. "Grant, look at me." He did, because the command gave him something easier than losing control. "You need to leave." His hands flexed around the folder. For a second, I thought he might throw it. Instead, he looked at the camera again. The legal reality finally caught up with his temper. "This isn't over?" he said. "Then document it through your attorney." He stepped backward, still trying to look past me at Elena. She did not shrink. The lobby door shut behind him with a heavy glass click. I waited until he crossed the wet street and disappeared beyond the row of parked cars. Then I turned to Elena. "Elevator?" She nodded. Part 2. The ride to the 4th floor was silent except for the hum of cables. When the doors opened, I stepped out first and checked both ends of the hall. Empty. Elena unlocked 4A with 2 tries. The keys no longer clicked as hard. "Go inside," I said. "Lock the deadbolt. I'm checking the stairwells in the garage corridor. I'll knock 3 times when I come back. Do not open for anyone else." Her fingers loosened from the key ring, and the metal stopped tapping against her palm. "Okay." The door closed. The deadbolt turned. I checked the east stairwell, the west stairwell, the roof access door, and the garage landing. Grant's sedan still blocked Elena's car, angled across 2 spaces. I took photos from 3 angles, including the fire lane marker on the wall and the security camera above the exit. Then I called Miles Hayes. Miles was dispatch colleague, and the only man I trusted to hear a sentence at midnight and understand every problem hidden inside it. "Caleb," he answered, "you sound like paperwork. Apartment building safety issue, possible stalking and extortion, Subject is Grant Harris. He blocked Elena Parker's car in the garage and threatened digital release tied to a property transfer. I need the address flagged for response history. Standard procedure only. Is there an immediate threat? He left the building. Vehicle remains blocking her car. I have photos and messages. Send them, I'll note it clean. No favors, no shortcuts. That's why I called you. He exhaled. I always wanted my night shift to include domestic cyber extortion. You should have chosen bakery work. Bakers wake up earlier? I ended the call and knocked 3 times on 4A. Elena opened the door immediately. Her apartment was calm in a way that made Grant's violence feel even uglier. Floating shelves, books arranged by height, a slate-gray sofa with folded blankets stacked at one end, a ceramic bowl for keys, warm light from a low lamp, a home rebuilt with rules, order, and quiet. I stayed by the entry until she stepped back and said, "Come in." Only then did I cross the threshold. "Your car is still blocked," I said. I photographed it. Miles is flagging the address according to procedure. No special treatment, no off-book pressure. Thank you. I took out a small spiral notebook and placed it on the kitchen island. Now we build a threat matrix. She stared at the notebook. That sounds less terrifying than my imagination. It usually is. She sat on one of the stools. I filled a glass with cold water and placed it in front of her. Drink first. I'm not fragile. I didn't say fragile, I said dehydrated. That got the first real breath out of her. She picked up the glass. For the next hour, the apartment held only the scratch of my pen and the low rhythm of her voice. Once Elena had a task, the panic began losing ground. She sorted Grant's threats by category: custody schedule, employer reputation, marital equity, company confidentiality. She pulled up old emails and matched them to original calendar entries. She identified 2 audio clips that had clearly been cut from separate arguments months apart. She found the missing context in 3 messages before I had to ask. At one point, she turned her laptop toward me. "This screenshot is wrong," she said. "How?" "He claims I emailed a competitor during a confidential freight bid, but that email went to our internal routing team. The address is cropped. The original is archived on the company server." "Can your IT department verify it?" "Yes, automatically." "Good. Write that down." She wrote it down. Not shaking. Not guessing. Working. By the time I finished the first page of the threat matrix, Grant's leverage looked less like a bomb and more like a badly assembled machine. Dangerous if handled in panic, useless if taken apart piece by piece. I slid the paper across the island. "Here's the structure," I said. "He needs you isolated. He needs the deadline to feel real. He needs you to believe the files are stronger than they are. They are not. The company server can verify the emails. Audio metadata can show edits. The blocked car and lobby footage support a harassment pattern. If he sends anything now, he strengthens your case." Elena looked at the paper. Her index finger moved slowly down the numbered list. "What do I do first?" "Call your attorney's office and leave a full message, then send 1 email to yourself with tonight's timeline while it's fresh. After that, you sleep with the door locked." "And you?" "I go across the hall." Her eyes lifted. "Across the hall is close enough," I said. She looked toward the front door, then back at me. "Will you text me when you get inside?" "Yes." A small smile touched her mouth. "That is very official." "It will include punctuation." Comforting. I went back to my apartment at 1:42 a.m. and texted her one word: "Inside." 3 dots appeared. Then her answer: "Locked." The next morning, Grant's sedan was gone. But the peace lasted less than 2 days. At 10 on Monday, Elena's attorney called from the courthouse hallway. I was in my kitchen with a cup of dark roast, standing beside the window that looked over the alley behind the building. Elena had put the call on speaker from her apartment across the hall, and I had stayed on my side of the threshold until she gestured me in. Her attorney's voice was tight but controlled. "You did the right thing by leaving a timeline overnight," the attorney said. "Do not respond directly to Grant. Do not sign anything. I'm filing for emergency review, but I need evidence in order." Screenshots, original messages, photos of the blocked vehicle, any building footage request? I have the car photos, Elena said. Caleb documented them. Good. Caleb, if you are present as a witness, keep your role clean. That is the only role I'm willing to have, I said. Elena glanced at me over the rim of her coffee mug. The attorney continued. Elena, I also need you to notify your company's legal department before Grant does, not with panic, with a neutral evidence preservation memo. Elena straightened in her chair. I can write that. I know you can. Keep it factual. When the call ended, Elena opened her work laptop and did not ask me what to say. She wrote the memo herself. I watched her build it line by line, dates, file categories, suspected manipulation, requested preservation of original server records. Notice that a third party may attempt unauthorized reputational damage. Then she read it aloud once. No trembling. No apology. No asking permission to protect herself. Send it, I said. She clicked the button. The small whoosh of the outgoing message sounded louder than the rain against the window. That was terrifying, she said. Did you die? She looked at me. No. Then it becomes easier the second time. She rolled her eyes, and that tiny sign of annoyance felt healthier than gratitude. Your comfort style needs a customer service review, she said. I have never promised luxury. Clearly, she stood, carried our mugs to the sink, and rinsed them while I gathered the printed notes. It looked like an ordinary morning in an ordinary kitchen. That was the point. Grant wanted every room to become a battlefield. We were taking them back one by one. Part 3. On Tuesday evening, a white envelope slid under my door. I was at my desk reviewing incident notes, a mug of dark roast cooling beside my elbow. The envelope crossed the threshold slowly, as if the hallway itself had pushed it in. I stood, opened the door, and found the corridor empty. The paper inside was a printed map of downtown. A red circle marked an independent coffee shop 3 blocks from Elena's office. At the bottom, in black marker, Grant had written, "Tell her the offer expires at midnight." I took a photo before touching it further. Then I bagged it in a clean plastic sleeve from my case kit. Only after that did I cross the hall and knock on 4A. Elena opened the door in a thick cardigan and soft gray pants, her hair clipped back, a work tablet in one hand. For 1 second, she looked almost peaceful. Then she saw my face. What happened? I held up the sleeve. She read the message through the plastic. The warmth drained from her expression. He knows where I get coffee. Yes. Tracker? Maybe. Or someone followed you. I kept my tone even. Either way, he just gave us physical proof of escalation. Her hand tightened around the tablet. Caleb, if he knows my routine, he can follow me to work, to the grocery store, to custody exchange. He wants exactly that thought in your head. It's working. Then we give the thought a job. She blinked. Keys, I said. She grabbed them from the bowl. Phone? She picked it up. Shoes. She looked down, then almost laughed despite herself. You're ordering my footwear. I'm ordering a vehicle check. 5 minutes later, we were in the garage with building security on the phone and Miles dispatching a patrol unit through standard channels. I did not crawl under her car until the responding officer arrived. No shortcuts, no evidence ruined by impatience. The officer found the tracker under the rear bumper. Small, magnetic, cheap, careless. Grant's arrogance in plastic form. Elena stood beside me while the officer photographed it, logged it, and sealed it as evidence. She did not look away. When the officer asked for her statement, Elena gave it clearly. Dates, times, messages, lobby confrontation, blocked car, the map. Every answer made the world larger again. Afterward, in the elevator. She leaned against the wall and closed her eyes for 2 seconds. Tea? I asked. Her eyes opened. You are very predictable, only in useful ways. I have green tea. I accept bribes and caffeine. That became our rhythm for the next week. Not romance, not yet. Routine. I left for shift at the same time she walked to the garage, not to escort her like a shadow, but to make sure the public spaces stayed public. She emailed her attorney updates each morning. I sent Miles clean documentation when new evidence appeared. Building management preserved lobby and garage footage. Elena's company IT department verified the original emails and confirmed the screenshots had been altered. At night, her apartment door stayed open 1 inch when she wanted help reviewing a new message. If the door was closed, I did not knock. Boundaries matter most when fear makes them tempting to erase. On Thursday, I found her at the kitchen island with 3 laptops open and a yellow legal pad covered in columns. She had color-coded Grant's threats. Red for custody, blue for company reputation, green for property equity, black for direct harassment. This is more organized than some case boards at the office, I said. She looked up. Do not sound surprised. I am impressed. That is different. It is. She tapped the legal pad. If he sends the custody audio, I have the original full recording from the Exchange app. If he sends the company email, IT has the server archive. If he claims I ignored visitation, the calendar shows he canceled twice and arrived late once. The house equity document he once signed also has the wrong parcel number. I leaned closer, keeping my hands on my side of the island. The parcel number is wrong? He used the old refinancing draft from before the divorce settlement. She circled the line with her pen. He doesn't even have the current deed packet. The corner of my mouth lifted. She saw it. What? You just took apart his entire threat structure before I asked the first question. Elena sat back. The kettle clicked off behind her. For once, she smiled before reaching for the mug. He always made me feel slow, she said. I pulled a clean cup from the cabinet. He needed you slow. She poured hot water over the tea bag, then pushed the cup toward me. I had made her drink water the first night. Now she was the one placing something warm in my hands. No speech came with it. No confession. Just tea. The steam rose between us, carrying the faint grassy scent of green leaves. I wrapped my hands around the mug and realized I had not checked the hallway in 10 minutes. That should have bothered me. It did not. The next morning, I saw the first sign that Grant's threat had moved from private intimidation to public pressure. Elena's regional manager called before 8. I was in the hallway waiting for the elevator, coffee in hand, when Elena stepped out of 4A with her phone pressed to her ear and a folder tucked under her arm. She looked composed, but the skin around her knuckles was tight where she held the folder. No, she said into the phone. Do not forward the anonymous email. Preserve it. Send it to legal and exactly as received. Do not open attachments. She listened. Then her voice sharpened. Mara, I am not asking you to believe me because you like me. I am telling you we have an active evidence preservation protocol, and if anyone opens that attachment before IT captures headers, we lose a clean trail. I watched the elevator numbers descend. Elena met my eyes. Good, she said into the phone. Thank you. I'll be there in 20 minutes. She ended the call. Anonymous email, I asked. Grant sent a warning shot to my senior manager. No files attached, just a subject line about ethics violations and a blank attachment. He wants panic inside your office. Then he underestimated Mara. And you. The elevator opened. She stepped inside first, then looked back at me. I'm not going to the coffee shop today. Good. I'm not hiding either. I'm taking the main entrance at work, and I'm asking security to preserve lobby footage. Better. The doors started to close. She held them with one hand. Tea tonight? Your door or mine? The question was simple. The answer mattered. Mine, she said, door open. I nodded. The elevator closed. Part 4. By Friday morning, the trap snapped shut. I was at the county office finishing a call report when Elena texted, He's in the garage, by my car, black laptop bag, says he sends everything now unless I sign. I stood. Miles looked up from dispatch. What happened? Grant forced a confrontation. Miles was already reaching for his headset. Address? You know it. I still need you to say it. I said it. He dispatched a unit, clean and logged. I drove 6 blocks with my focus narrowed to lanes, lights, and timing. No siren, no drama, just speed inside the law. The garage smelled of wet concrete and exhaust. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Grant stood by Elena's sedan with a black laptop bag over one shoulder and a folder in his hand. Elena stood 10 feet away near a concrete pillar, phone in hand. Camera on. Waiting. Good. She had not moved into a corner. She had not signed. She had made herself a witness to her own life. I am finished waiting, Grant said, his voice echoing off the concrete. You sign the equity transfer, or your board gets the files. Grant, I called. He turned. His face twisted. You again? I stopped beside Elena, not in front of her this time. Beside, the difference mattered. A blinking red light on my recorder faced him from my hand. This interaction is being recorded for documentation, I said. You are demanding financial property under threat of releasing disputed digital materials. Patrol's on the way. Keep your hands visible and step away from Elena's vehicle. Grant's eyes flicked toward the ramp. No lights yet. He smiled. You think she is innocent because she makes tea and looks scared? She's been lying to everyone. Elena's fingers tightened around her phone. Then she stepped forward one pace. I'm not signing, she said. Grant's smile faltered. She opened the folder in her hand and held up one page. This is the current deed packet. The parcel number on your transfer form is wrong. This is the company server archive proving the email was cropped. This is the full custody exchange recording, not the edited clip. And this is the tracker report from under my car. Her voice did not shake. You don't have leverage, she said. You have evidence against yourself. Grant's hand moved toward the laptop bag. I raised one palm. Do not reach into the bag. Set it down. He froze. Red and blue light washed across the ceiling as a patrol unit rolled down the ramp. Grant looked past us, then at Elena. You set me up. Elena lowered the folder. You followed me. You threatened me. You blocked my car. You brought the laptop. I stopped covering for you. The officers entered the garage. I stepped back and let them take over. That mattered too. This was no longer my room to control. It was evidence, procedure, statements, chain of custody. The officers secured the laptop bag. Elena handed over her folder. Grant talked too much. Men like him always do when silence would save them. By the time they escorted him up the ramp, Elena was standing with both feet planted, her phone still in her hand. Are you hurt? I asked. No. Do you need to sit? No. She looked at the empty space where Grant had been. Then she turned to me. I want to give my statement before I go upstairs. So she did. The first officer asked what had happened. Elena answered without looking to me once. She explained the first message, the blocked car, the lobby footage, the envelope, the tracker, the anonymous email to Mara, the laptop threat. She used names, dates, times, and locations. She did not make Grant larger than he was. She did not make herself smaller to sound believable. When she finished, the officer closed his notebook. That was very clear. Ms. Parker. Elena nodded. I managed logistics. For some reason, that was the moment my throat tightened. Not at the danger, at the calm. Later, after the officers left and the tow company removed Grant's vehicle from the garage entrance, we stood by Elena's car in the ordinary fluorescent light. No violins, no rain, no dramatic embrace. Just oil stains on concrete and the stale smell of a parking level that had seen too many engines idle. Elena looked at the empty space where the sedan had been. I thought once the divorce was final, the fear would leave with him, she said. I clipped my recorder back onto my belt. Sometimes people leave a room and keep trying to own the door. She looked at me. Too poetic for a manual? I have range. A real laugh came out of her, short and surprised. Then she unlocked her car. I'm driving to work, she said. Good. Not because I have to prove anything to him. Even better, because Mara is waiting on my security protocol. I opened my hands, logistics. She smiled, got into the car, and drove up the ramp herself. I stood there until her taillights vanished into daylight. Not because she needed watching, because I needed to see her leave under her own power. Part 5. 2 weeks later, the court issued the permanent protective order. Elena arrived at the courthouse in a navy blazer, white blouse, and low heels, carrying her own file box. Her attorney walked beside her. I sat 2 benches back as a witness, not a savior, not a shield. Grant appeared with a lawyer and a face arranged into injured dignity. It did not help. The judge reviewed the messages, the lobby footage, the blocked car photos, the map, the tracker report, the garage recording, and the laptop contents. The original files showed the edits. The custody app verified the full conversations. Elena's company confirmed the emails had been altered. The anonymous email had been traced to a disposable account created from the same laptop Grant carried into the garage. Grant's leverage turned into a paper trail. When the order was granted, Elena did not cry. She closed her file box. Then she shook her attorney's hand. Outside the courthouse, the morning air smelled like wet stone and coffee from a cart on the corner. Traffic moved slowly through downtown. People crossed streets with folders, umbrellas, bad moods, and ordinary problems. Elena stood beside the courthouse steps and looked at the sky. "What happens now?" I asked. She looked at me. "I go to work." That was the best answer she could have given. Her board had received a legal statement before Grant could spread the files. The custody evaluator had received the court order and the documentation. Her company opened an internal security review, not a disciplinary hearing. The marital equity stayed exactly where the divorce settlement had placed it. Her life was not magically simple. It was hers. The 6 weeks after that did not turn into a movie montage. They turned into forms, meetings, school calendar updates, IT audits, replacement passwords, building access changes, and more cups of green tea than I could count. Grant's lawyer tried to argue that the garage confrontation had been a misunderstanding. The laptop evidence ended that his contact with Elena remained barred. His visitation requests moved through official channels. The custody evaluator wrote a note that used the phrase "documented coercive conduct," and Elena read it 3 times at her kitchen island without saying a word. Mara promoted 2 internal security procedures at Elena's office. Miles complained that my reports had become too neat and made everyone else look bad. Building management fixed the garage camera that had been broken for 11 months and acted like they had discovered civic virtue. I got my laundry from machine number 7 every Friday night. Sometimes Elena came with me. Not every week, not as a ritual forced into significance. Just enough that the laundromat stopped being a place where fear had found me and became a place with bad lighting, stubborn dryers, and one vending machine that stole quarters. One night, the far dryer started squeaking again. Elena looked at it over the rim of her paper cup of vending machine tea. Every 3rd rotation. I turned. "You noticed?" It is impossible not to notice. I find it grounding. I find it hostile. It helped me think. It needs maintenance. That is also true. She smiled into her cup, and the fluorescent lights hummed above us like the world's least romantic orchestra. I did not tell her she looked peaceful. I watched her fold towels with clean, efficient movements, stacking corners to corners, making order from warmth. That was better. 3 days later, I came home from shift to find her waiting in the hallway between our apartments. Not frightened, not cornered. Waiting. She wore a tailored coat over work clothes and held a small leather folio under one arm. The hallway smelled faintly of detergent from someone's laundry downstairs. Through the walls, a television murmured in another unit. Normal sounds. Beautiful sounds. "I had my regional strategy meeting today," she said. "How did it go?" I walked in with the corrected timeline, the IT verification, and the court order. Then I told them we were changing our vendor access protocols. And they approved all of it. Of course they did. She smiled. "You say that like it was obvious." It was to me. The smile softened. She opened the leather folio and took out a brass key. The same kind of key nearly every tenant in the building had. Nothing dramatic. Everything important. "I don't need a bodyguard," she said. "No. I don't need you to manage my doors." "No. I don't need you to make my life quiet." I waited. Her fingers closed gently around the key. "But I want to share the quiet with someone who knows how much it costs." The hallway went still. Not empty. Still, she held out the key on her open palm. "This is not for emergencies," she said. "This is not because I'm afraid. This is for tea after bad shifts, and laundry left too long in the dryer, and someone to text when the hallway feels too silent. You can say no." I looked down at the brass key. The dryer squeak from the laundromat came back to me for one strange second. Every third rotation, lavender in the air, rain on her jacket, a phone on top of machine number 7. Then the memory changed. The key in her palm, her shoulders straight, her choice. I took the key and held it between my fingers. "I have laundry downstairs," I said. Her eyebrow lifted. "That is your answer." "It is a practical opening." She laughed, and the sound moved through the hallway like a window opening. "Then go get it before it wrinkles." "Yes, ma'am." I went downstairs. Machine number 7 was empty this time. The laundromat smelled the same as always: lavender, cotton, old pipes. The far dryer squeaked on every third rotation. But the sound no longer felt like a place to hide. It sounded like something waiting to be folded and carried home. When I came back upstairs with a basket of warm sheets, Elena's door was open 1 inch. I knocked anyway. 3 times. She opened it with 2 mugs of green tea waiting on the counter behind her. The brass key rested warm in my pocket, and for once I did not check the hallway before stepping inside. The end.